Hey everybody, welcome to Bearcat Perspectives, a short informational session exploring educational network design. I'm Sean, and I'm really excited to be with you today. Today we're actually going to focus on learning management systems, commonly known as LMS, and learning tools interoperability, also known as LTI. These systems and standards really do shape how educators like us design, deliver, and enhance digital learning experiences. Joining me today is my colleague, Vanita Johnson. Vanita brings a wealth of teaching and K-12 experience, and she's really going to help us get grounded in this discussion because we really want to know what educators need from these systems.
Hi, Sean. It's a pleasure to be here. As an educator, I've worked with several learning management systems, including Blackboard, Canvas, Schoology, Moodle, and Google Classroom. These platforms have been essential for organizing digital resources, supporting instruction, and facilitating professional development. Through hands-on experiences, I have learned how to upload course materials, manage discussion boards, and generate data reports. While I have some exposure to LTI, I haven't fully explored how it works behind the scenes. So that brings me to the question, how does learning management systems and learning tools interoperability work together?
Vanita, you just shared some great points about your experience with learning management systems, and that's a perfect starting point for us. Before we bring in our guest today, let's set a baseline for everyone watching. First, the learning management system, commonly known as LMS, is the central hub that manages teaching and learning online. It organizes content, assessments, and learning data in one centralized place. In higher education, it could be something like Canvas or Blackboard. In K through 12, it could be Schoology or Google Classroom. And in corporate training, platforms like Cornerstone are pretty common. Research shows that LMS platforms provide structure for both students and instructors, improving access and streamlining course management. So the big question is, how do they work together? Well, the LMS provides the foundation, the server, the database, the network infrastructure, and the LTI extends that system, allowing instructors to integrate specialized tools for collaboration, assessment, or analytics. Johar and colleagues actually found that integrations enhance student engagement by linking learning analytics directly back into the LMS. But this only works when the underlying network is scalable, secure, and reliable, and that's where design concepts like the hierarchical network model come into play. They ensure performance and resiliency. The same applies to WAN community, WAN, where choices like leased lines, VPNs, or broadband determine whether an LMS can serve learners reliably across multiple sites. In short, the LMS is the hub, the LTI is the plug, and the network is the backbone that keeps it all accessible and dependable.
Thanks, Sean, for providing that valuable background knowledge. My goal, just like my peers, is to grow into a subject matter expert in instructional design by understanding the functionalities of LMS and LTI.
Vanita, you've come to the right place. To answer your questions, we're joined by three of our colleagues, Jennifer, Jessica, and Michael. They are going to serve as our panel of experts, and they're going to walk us through the mechanisms of how LMS and LTI function in practice, what benefits they bring, and the challenges that we need to be mindful of. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I'll be giving you the K through 12 perspective on LMSs and LTIs. So let's take a closer look at how LMSs and LTIs operate in the K through 12 environment. In a school, an LMS is a central hub for teachers, students, and parents to communicate, manage assignments, and track progress. So in many respects, the LMS is like a digital version of a physical classroom. And while there are many, many different types of LMSs out there, one resource on EdTech statistics noted that the most popular LMSs are Canvas, Google Classroom, and Schoology. So now let's turn our attention to LTI standards. So while teachers and students interact directly with the LMS, they typically never need to deal with learning tool interoperability These standards are protocols or set procedures, almost like computer code, that work behind the scenes to extend the functionality of the LMS by enabling it to work or communicate with other web based learning tools seamlessly and safely. And LTI standards act like a connector or a liaison between an LMS and the many other digital learning tools out there, and it enables quick and smooth communication between the technologies. So, for example, if a teacher wanted to use a third party tool such as Edpuzzle to create an interactive video and then assign it to her students within the LMS, an LTI protocol would establish a seamless connection between Edpuzzle and the LMS and enable quick and smooth operability. And if it were not for the LTI, using digital learning tools would be really time consuming because for each tool, the teacher would have to manually create a class and create logins for each of the students, and then the students would have to also log into each tool separately. LTI is most commonly associated with an LMS, but they're sometimes also used with other digital resources. For example, some school districts may have a learning object repository that stores resources like lesson plans or videos or learning activities. And an LTI would enable teachers to access these resources without having to create a separate login or account. So that's the state of play of LMSs and LTIs in K through 12 education in the US. They've really become a cornerstone of modern education.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let's go over to our next panelist.
Thanks, Sean. Hey, everyone. Now, in this section, we will focus on the synergy between the learning management system and LTI. In today's digital classrooms, the LMS, or Learning Management System, serves as the backbone of online education. It handles the essentials: course content delivery, grade tracking, and communication. However, in higher education, where each discipline needs vary significantly, the LMS alone is insufficient. That's where LTI, or Learning Tools Interoperability, comes in. Think of LTI as the bridge, a secure, standardized way to plug powerful external tools directly into your LMS while maintaining a seamless user experience. For example, a music student needs an LTI-compliant notation tool inside Canvas. A science major needs to run virtual labs. A language learner benefits from LTI-integrated vocabulary and translation platforms. And across disciplines from medicine to computer science, students require specialized tools that extend far beyond the LMS core. What's critical here is balance. A powerful baseline LMS ensures consistency and reliability across the institution, but LTI tools curate personalized, discipline-specific learning experiences, making education more relevant and effective. From plagiarism detection to immersive 3D anatomy models, LTIs unlock capabilities that the LMS alone can't offer, all while keeping the student within a single unified ecosystem. In short, LTI is not an extra, it's essential. It ensures that higher education remains adaptable, accessible, and discipline-driven. And when implemented thoughtfully, the LMS and LTI combination becomes more than a platform, it becomes a true learning environment.
That is really great insight, Michael. Let's see what our final panelist has to say.
Thank you, Sean. I love that Michael used the word thoughtfully when he mentioned the implementation bit, because I'm going to get into what that thoughtfully really means. Knowing what to integrate, choosing the right tools, knowing how to implement them, and justifying the costs are the biggest challenges standing in the way of creating this true learning environment. I'm going to focus more on challenges seen in the corporate sector, but they apply to all of us. Let's break it down. Learning professionals often have no idea the true potential of what an LMS can do or what can be connected to it. My company uses an AI tool called Zenerate that provides AI simulations and coaching to help customer service reps build soft skills. And it can also provide performance analysis that identifies which behaviors actually drive consumer outcomes. Pretty cool, right? Is this tool integrated with our LMS? Nope. Why not? L&D team only knows what they know. Most of them only know how to upload SCORM packages or create events. Plus, we're busy. There's 10 million reasons why we don't have the time or money to explore. Even if we did explore LTI options, they only report basic data out of the box, like completion or correctness, rather than detailed interaction logs. But it's those fine-grained interactions that provide us with an understanding of the effectiveness of the tool and the quality of content within it. You can get this granular data if the tool provides it, and if you purchase custom API packages, and if you build code into your LMS to read it. That's a lot of ifs. And have you thought about security? Sharing user data with third-party tools raises privacy concerns. And if LTI is not implemented correctly, it can introduce vulnerabilities like data leakage. Institutions must vet vendors carefully to ensure that external tool providers comply with internal security and regulatory policies. So organizations often stick with tools they already know and have previously vetted. How about the learner experience? If your tool is authored by an external vendor, you have less control over initiating and incorporating improvements or fixing user experience issues. This tool that you once thought was so great might not be able to adapt to your evolving business needs. And finally, the money. Maintaining multiple tool integrations, tool licensure, updates, bug fixes, and purchasing custom API packages, that can get really expensive. And learning and development innovations, unfortunately, often lack business buy-in to provide financial support and resources. Now, don't let all this deter you from wanting to integrate your learning tools. Just make sure you know the reality of what it takes to make all this happen. If tool integration with your LMS is going to be of maximum benefit to your company, yourself, and your learners, it's definitely worth fighting for.
That's good stuff, Jessica. We have learned so much. Vanita, what's your takeaway after hearing these insights?
I've gained a deeper understanding of how these technologies work together to support education. One key lesson from today's discussion is that LMS and LTI systems are more than just technical tools, they're the foundation of modern learning environments. The LMS acts as the central hub, organizing content, tracking progress, and facilitating communication. But its real power comes when it's extended through the LTI, technical standards that securely connect external tools to the LMS. Although adoption often stalls due to cost, time constraints, or a lack of awareness. The big takeaway: successful integration requires more than plugging in tools. It takes strategic planning, a clear understanding of capabilities, and strong infrastructure. When done thoughtfully, LMS and LTI work together to deliver scalable, secure, and personalized learning experiences that truly support both instructors and learners. Thank you, Sean, and the panel for helping me connect the dots between technology and effective teaching.
Fantastic. That actually concludes our session on LMS and LTI. We've defined the key concepts, explored how these integrations work, and heard both benefits and challenges from our panel. For anyone who'd like to go deeper, our references are on the final slide. Thank you for joining us today for Bearcat Perspectives. Until next time.